Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. In today's What's for Dinner video, I'll be sharing with you what meals we had this past week. Our dinners were easy to make, budget friendly, and delicious. So if you're looking for some weeknight meal ideas for your family, just keep watching. For dinner this first night, this was not on the menu. Something else was, but I just wasn't in the mood to make what was on the meal plan. It was kind of involved and I just wanted something simple. And so I decided to do salsa chicken. I've made this for years. I originally got the recipe off of All Recipes. I'll put that in the description box below, but you can really eyeball everything. You don't need a specific recipe. So here's what I'm going to use to make this. I've got some boneless, skinless chicken breasts. That's just what I had on hand, but you could also use boneless, skinless thighs. You need some kind of salsa. It can be homemade or just your favorite jarred. Taco seasoning and some shredded cheese. And then to go along with the salsa chicken, I've got this Spanish rice. I got this at Trader Joe's. It's microwavable. And then this can of the Bush's beans. My oven is preheating to 350 degrees. I've greased a casserole dish. I have my chicken breasts. I just trim them up, and you do want to make sure that the chicken is about, the same thickness so that it cooks all at the same time. I seasoned both sides with some of the taco seasoning, and then I'm going to take my salsa. I like this Maque Choux salsa, and you just pour that on top. And again, no real measurements needed. Just add as much or as little as you want. Pop this into the preheated oven and bake it for about 25 to 30 minutes until the chicken is 165 degrees internal temperature. Now, the last minute or two of baking, I'm going to add the shredded cheese. Use whatever kind you like. I just have this Fiesta blend on hand. Pop this back into the oven for a couple minutes until that cheese is nice and melted. Here, I just warmed up those Bush's Taco Fiesta Sidekick beans, and there were just a couple pieces of corn in it. It's really black beans, some corn, red bell peppers, and some spices, but I added a little bit of frozen corn just to add a little more corn, and then I just warmed that up on top of the stove while the chicken was cooking, and then I cooked that Spanish rice in the microwave according to the package instructions. Here are the plates. So we've got some of the rice, the beans, the salsa chicken, and then we like to eat our salsa chicken with some sour cream, and then I added a little bit of fresh cilantro. This is such a quick and easy dinner. It takes like no prep time at all. You can, make the chicken, get it ready while the oven is preheating. Make your quick and easy sides like this. And the chicken, it is, for just a couple of ingredients, the salsa and the taco seasoning, it surprisingly has really good flavor. I mean, obviously, you need to use a good salsa, right? Because with it being so few ingredients, you want to make sure you use the salsa that you love, which, like I said, we like that Maque Choux brand. But yeah, super quick and easy weeknight dinner. I hope you all give this a try. If you do, leave me a comment and let me know if you tried it and if you liked it. Tonight's dinner was also off a meal plan, but I wanted to use up what I had, and I had a few chicken thighs in the fridge. So I decided to do like my version of the Copycat Cracker Barrel's broccoli cheddar chicken. So I'll have the recipe that I took inspiration from linked in the description box below for you. Here's what I did. I took those boneless, skinless chicken thighs, seasoned them up really well with salt, pepper, paprika, and garlic powder, and I just cooked these in the air fryer until they were all the way cooked. I let them rest for a few minutes, and then I'm going to dice them up. I've got the oven preheating to 375 degrees. In this bowl, I am going to add in a can of broccoli cheese soup. Now, the recipe didn't call for this, but I'll tell you why I added it in just a second. Next, I'm going to add in a can of the Campbell's cheddar cheese soup. The recipe did call for this. Now, the reason I added both was because, one, I had the broccoli cheese on hand and I needed to use it up. I thought it would go well in this. But two, I wanted to serve this over rice, and so I wanted the chicken to be like extra saucy. Now, I'm going to season this up. You can use whatever seasonings you want. I'm going to do salt. No, I didn't add salt. Sorry. Pepper, paprika, and garlic powder. Then the milk, and I'm going to give that a really, really good whisk until it's well combined. I'm going to set that to the side. Here in this casserole dish, it is greased. I took those chicken thighs, chopped them up. I'm going to add half of my cheese and milk mixture on top. I, just kind of zhuzh that around a little bit. I'm then going to take some shredded cheddar cheese, sprinkle that over the chicken. Now I'm going to add in some broccoli florets. I didn't thaw these. You can let them thaw if you want to. Then I'm going to take the rest of that cheese mixture, put that on top. followed by some more shredded cheese. Now, for the final step, we're going to take some crushed crackers. I have some Townhouse and Club, so I'm just going to combine both of these. No reason to open up an unopened package of crackers. So I just crushed them. I'm going to sprinkle those on top. And then the recipe didn't call for the butter, but I had just a couple tablespoons of butter setting out on my counter. And so I was like, hey, I'll just, take little pats of those and put them on top. This is going to go into the preheated oven. Remember, it was 375, and this baked for about 30 minutes until it was bubbly and golden brown. For this side, I made my glazed carrots. I've shared this several times before on my channel. Just a couple of cans of sliced carrots. I'm going to drain, add in a little bit of honey, some salt, pepper, a little pat of butter, and then some brown sugar. And I just simmered that for maybe 15 minutes or so. And then I did some white rice, just cooked it up in the rice cooker. Here are the plates. So I laid down some of that white rice, added some of the casserole on top, and then we had the carrots on the side, and this was a yummy dinner. We had this for Sunday dinner, and this was perfect. It was so comforting. For dinner the next night, I made a Cajun salmon and shrimp. Let me show you what I did. So I'm going to start out with one of the sides first because that takes the longest. You need a pound of ground meat of your choice for the Zatarain's Dirty Rice kit. I had 2 links of turkey Italian sausage in my fridge I needed to use up. And then I had a half a link of, like a Chipotle sausage. And so I just put those in the pot, chopped them up with the meat chopper, and cooked them until they were all the way brown. And then all I'm going to do is follow the instructions on the Dirty Rice package. That's just to add the rice, add some water, add a little bit of oil, bring this to a boil, cover it, reduce it to a simmer for about 25 minutes until the rice is cooked all the way through, and then let the lid sit on it for 10 minutes and then fluff it up with a fork. Next, I'm going to make Maque Choux. If you're not familiar with that, it's like a Cajun Creole dish. It's got corn, onions, bell peppers, and then, depending on who's making it, you can have different ingredients in there like bacon. So here I've got some chopped bacon. I'm going to cook that up until it is crispy. Once it's there, I'm going to add in some chopped onions and bell peppers. I just had these in my freezer, so I pulled them out. I cooked the onions and bell peppers until they were tender, about 5 to 7 minutes. Then I'm going to add in my corn. Obviously, fresh corn shucked right off the cob would be delicious in this. You could do frozen, but I've got canned, so I drained that, and that's what I'm going to use. For seasonings, you use whatever you like. I decided to do some Slap Ya Mama, followed by paprika, garlic powder, and onion powder. And y'all, look at this. Look what I did with the onion powder. Just watch. Look at that. The whole rest of that thing in there. Can you believe that? And I decided to leave this in because I wanted to show you everybody has these moments. Everybody does stuff like this. It's okay. I just got out as much as I could, gave it a stir, and hoped for the best. I added in my chicken broth. In this case, I'm using chicken bouillon and water. And then I like to add in just a tiny little pinch of sugar, not a lot, just a little sprinkle. It just adds to the sweetness of the corn. And then you just simmer this for maybe 10 or 15 minutes or so. You can add cream to this if you want to, but I like just adding the chicken stock. Now for the Cajun salmon and shrimp. I was just going to do Cajun salmon, but I thought I had more salmon than what I had. I only had 2 pieces, and 1 piece is usually fine for me unless I'm super hungry, but Gary normally needs 2 pieces, and so I had some shrimp in my freezer. I just did a quick thaw on that. So super easy. I have this oil in this skillet. This is on like medium-high heat. I season both sides of my salmon. Again, use whatever seasonings you want. I'm doing Slap Ya Mama, a little pepper, a little bit of salt, some paprika, garlic powder, and then I couldn't do onion powder because y'all saw I dumped the whole thing in the Maque Choux, but that's okay. And then I just cooked this for 3 or 4 minutes on each side, and then right at the end, I did a squeeze of fresh lemon juice, and the salmon was ready. I thought I filmed me doing the shrimp, but I guess I must have had a brain fart and not done it, but I literally did the shrimp the exact same way. Once I removed the salmon from the pan, I just cooked up the shrimp, seasoned it up the same exact way. All right, here is the plate. So we've got the Maque Choux, the dirty rice, that salmon and shrimp, and then I did a garnish of fresh chopped parsley on top, and this was so good. That salmon, it had such a good char blackening to it. It was so good. And then the Maque Choux, actually, I warned Gary. I said it might be a little oniony, but it wasn't. It was actually really good. So yeah, another quick and easy and delicious dinner. For dinner the next night, we did Copycat Olive Garden's chicken and gnocchi soup. This is so good. I'll link the recipe that I use in the description box below for you. I halved the recipe. So here in this pot, I've got some butter. I allowed it to melt. Once it melted, I added in some diced onions. I'm going to season those up with a little bit of salt and pepper. One, of course, just to season them, but two, salt is going to help draw the moisture in those onions out, help them get softer. So I cooked those for about 5 minutes until they were almost just tender, and then I'm going to add in some celery. If you've been with me for a while, you know I detest celery, but I'm trying to use it more. I have found in stuff like this, if I chop it super fine, it doesn't bother me. So that's what I did. And then I took some shredded carrots and I just kind of gave those a rough chop. You can leave them whole if you want to, but again, a little bit of salt and pepper, and then cooked all the vegetables for another 3 to 5 minutes until they were really tender. Off camera, I added in a little bit of minced garlic and cooked that for about a minute. Now I'm going to add in some all-purpose flour, give that a stir, and then let this cook for a minute or two. Next, you're going to slowly whisk in some chicken broth. This is just water and bouillon powder, and again, just slowly whisk that. Then we're going to add in some half and half. Again, just slowly whisk. And I believe I said I halved the recipe. Didn't I say that? But I think I lied to you all. I don't think I halved it. I think, nope, I did. I fibbed to y'all. I'm sorry. I didn't have the recipe. What I did was the recipe calls for 4 cups of chicken broth, and I used 3 cups because I wanted it to be thicker, more like a stew. Once I got those liquids whisked in, I added in some dried thyme, ground mustard, and some pepper. Give that a stir, and then you want to simmer this for maybe about 10 minutes until it starts to slightly thicken. At this point, I'm going to add in some chicken. This is just rotisserie chicken that I shredded up. You can add in raw chicken breast. You just want to make sure you adjust the cooking time so that you make sure you cook your chicken until it's tender and cooked all the way through. So once this has started to thicken up and I've got that chicken added, I cooked it for just about 5 minutes just to let that chicken start to warm through. I'm then going to add in my potato gnocchi, give that a stir, and simmer that for another 5 minutes. Once the gnocchi is tender, I'm going to add in some chopped spinach. And then the recipe doesn't call for grated Parmesan cheese, but I like to add a little bit in. So once I stir in that Parmesan cheese, that's it. Give this a taste and adjust the seasonings to your taste. This is what it looked like when it was done. Obviously, like I said, I wanted it on the thicker side. You can use more broth if you want to make it thinner, but dare I say, this is better than Olive Garden's. This is so delicious. I made a quick vinaigrette. I have shared this before on my channel. I will put the recipe that I use in the description box below. Feel free to switch out whatever you want. I've got some balsamic vinegar, some extra virgin olive oil, Dijon mustard, salt, pepper, a little maple syrup, and then some lemon juice. And I just add everything to a mason jar and give it a really good shake, and then I've got my vinaigrette. Here's what I'm going to use for the salads. I've got some arugula, honey roasted pecan pieces, some craisins, the vinaigrette that I made, and then I have these blue cheese crumbles. I'm trying to work through them, and so I'm going to use those for Gary. I'm going to use feta for me. I just tossed the salad together. Here are the plates. We've got some of that soup, the salad, and then I took a loaf of a sourdough, like baguette style, of bread that I got from Walmart, and I just warmed that up and then served it with a little bit of olive oil on the side to dip. This was so good. This was delicious. I recommend you give this recipe a try, especially if you like the soup from Olive Garden. Give this a try. For dinner the next night, Gary picked us up Arby, so here's what we got. I got just a regular roast beef sandwich. Gary got their beef and cheddar, and then I got mozzarella sticks as a side. He got curly fries and then one of their ranch chicken wraps, and that was dinner that night. For dinner the next night, we just had leftover gnocchi soup. And for the last dinner in this week's video, my mom and I had traveled up to Kentucky. We were spending the weekend together and with family. My aunt and uncle, my dad's sister and her husband, had opened up a new Italian restaurant in our small town. And I think this was the second weekend that they were open, so we wanted to check it out. Mom was kind of worn out, though, from the whole day and traveling and all that. So I took my pasta home, or we took our food home home rather, and ate. And I got their penne pasta with vodka sauce and grilled chicken, and it was really good. And then my mom wasn't super hungry, so she just had a sandwich, and we relaxed on the recliner and watched some TV, and that was our dinner that night. All right, that is it for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you liked this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.